For years, Brentwood Academy seniors have enjoyed the tradition of taking part in Senior Survivor, a team-building activity challenging teams of seniors to outsmart, outwit, and outlast their opponents. Well, for this Brentwood Academy alum from the class of 1992, Survivor turned into reality when Julie Alley was cast on season 45 of the long-running reality TV show Survivor. Julie traveled to Fiji and impressed us all with her stamina and strategy. But Julie is inspiring in more ways than one. At the age of 40, she pivoted to begin law school and is continually challenging herself and those around her. Enjoy this alumni feature with Class of 92's Julie Alley. Well, Julie, a lot has changed since 1992.
Wow, a lot has changed.
Yeah. What's the last time you were actually on campus, like walking the halls?
Oh, it's been a minute.
Yeah.
It's been a minute. After I graduated in 92, did the college thing, I actually went and worked at BA in the executive, what's it called, office.
The administrative offices?
Yes.
I did not know that.
No, did it for just a year.
Yeah.
Yes, so I was an administrative assistant.
Okay.
Yes.
To Mr. Masters at the time?
Actually, it was Mark McFerrin at the time.
Okay, yeah. Mark led our development team for a long time.
So I worked for him for a year.
Yeah.
It was great.
You're such a people person. I could see you totally in that role.
It was a fun thing to go back to the school.
Yeah. And also probably odd because your coworkers are now people who taught you probably at the time.
Yes. And I'm still one to say Mr. or Mrs. Coach even at that. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't switch to the first name very well. So.
Tell me about your time. I believe you told me that you came to Brentwood Academy when you were in the 8th grade. Is that right? So
I did.
Were your parents looking for a little bit of a different environment for you, or why did you actually land at VA?
So I spent my 7th grade year at what was called Northside, now called Brentwood Middle, but back then it was Northside, and it was really intimidating for me. I felt overwhelmed. It was scary.
Big school.
It was a huge school. And in 7th grade, 8th grade, I was the type of student that could have been in your class for like 6 years and you would not have known I was there.
Oh, wow.
I was very shy, very quiet, very introverted, and the world scared me. So I was like, get me out. And Brentwood Academy was an amazing fit. So they said, sure. And I moved over to Brentwood Academy. So I went there 8th grade through, and graduated. It was great because I went from very quiet, shy. I had to get in all the regular classes to start off with. I ended up graduating the APs. Actually graduated 2nd in my class, so I was salutatorian.
Amazing.
And it was just the most amazing environment that I needed because I went from that shy, quiet. I still was very heavy on the academic side of the triangle because we focused on the triangle a lot more. You know, it was academic, athletic, spiritual. And by my senior year, I just was on the student leadership team and was a part of just so many things. And it just took me from this quiet person to very self-confident and felt good about my skills and who I was. And I'm just really grateful to BA for that.
Yeah. So you do feel like then that there was an impact kind of on who you turned out to be, your personality and stepping out of the box a little bit and challenging yourself, which we'll get to in depth in a minute. But there's things that you were participating in at Brentwood Academy led to some of the big steps and risks you've taken as an adult.
Absolutely. And I think that every school has its strengths and weaknesses and fits different personalities. And BA was great for me. It really helped me. You know, it stretched me. It's funny now. I really consider my physical well-being to be very much linked with my mental well-being. It's very important for me to maintain that. But I was not on the athletic side of the triangle at BA. I was your mile-a-dayer. I took whatever had to get done, and it was just not important to me. It's funny that I'm like, maybe there is something to that. So finding that later in life from probably that being instilled then made a difference. But the spiritual side. I just loved our retreats. The whole thing. BA just holds a very dear place in my heart. So.
I love that.
Yes.
So I am not sure what year the tradition started. I've been around BA since 2009, so I know it's at least been there since then.
Okay.
But did they have Survivor for seniors back when you went to school there?
It's so funny because I've heard about it since.
Yeah.
But no, they did not. I just, I do think it is funny when I first watched Survivor back in 2015. And I watched it, and that you form alliances and you make your tribe, and it does feel very much like high school, but it also feels like life.
Yeah.
You make your friends and you make your alliances, and who can you trust, and how do you maneuver life? So it does feel like that, but I think that's fun. The seniors do challenges. I don't know. I might need to try and drop in and see what they do.
Yeah, I've heard a little rumor that you might drop in and motivate them all.
I
Perhaps
would love
this year.
that. I would love that.
That would be so fun for them to hear from someone who's been through that. And of course, our parents and stuff, they do the best job of making it so realistic.
Wow.
They have alliances with the teams. Every team's a different color. They have the Survivor logo on the shirts, the Outlast, Outwit, the whole thing. They've got the torches.
Oh,
they do.
amazing.
They eat the bugs. It's the real thing.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
I don't think I could eat a bug now. I got food in my cupboard. I would not be able to do that, but I definitely did while I was out there.
Yes, you did.
But
yes,
that
you
was
did.
out of pure hunger. So that's so fun. Well, good for them. I definitely need to stop by.
Would high school Julie have been leading that group through the challenges and bring it on? What's the difference in high school Julie's personality and you now?
I think there's a lot. That's so funny. I feel like high school Julie was more making sure everybody had their sunscreen and made sure everybody followed the rules and knew what was expected of them. And I still am. I do bring that sense, in which, if you watched my season, I played a very loyal game, and I do look out for my people. So there is still that same person, but I guess it's funny when I was even auditioning over and over and over to try and get on the show. There was a lot of talk and me talking about old Julie and new Julie. And old Julie, kind of going with the flow, not speaking up, letting things happen. And new Julie saying, I'm going to make my own rules, and I'm going to make a goal, and I'm going to do this. And just a battle in my life. So I do think that there was more of old, that's high school, but I do, I feel that new Julie that coming out even then would poke its head. So yeah.
There's so much I love about your story, and I want to talk about Survivor and just the whole process of getting on there and what that was like for you. But then there's a really cool element to your story of really a pivot in life at around the age of 40.
Yes.
You found yourself with 2 children going through a divorce.
Yes.
And you had been teaching art classes up until then.
Yes.
Take me to the day that you just made up your mind that you were going to law school out of the blue.
Right? So I definitely have an example in my life of my mom going to getting more education. And so that was always an option, I think, in my head. But I was teaching art classes out of my house. I had started a mural career business, so I would also paint murals in people's homes. But I went, and that's a feast or famine job. A lot of my clients were, I don't do it anymore, were churches and nursery schools.
Yeah.
And so when the times are tough, people actually don't tithe first. They tithe last. So I would lose, I lost some good jobs on that. And it was just feast or famine. But, and then going through mediation.
For your divorce.
For my divorce. It was actually a legal separation turned into divorce later. But to make it simple, it was basically the same. So we did have to divide everything, and it's a hard process.
Yeah.
But even in walking in, the attorneys just made me wait for a really long time. And then somebody came and said, oh my gosh, are you Julie Alley? And I said, yes. And they said, our mistake. We thought you were the new associate in our firm. We're sorry we kept you waiting. And that was it.
Like, did something click in your head of like
In
that
my
you
head.
could have been the new
I
associate?
just was shocked because I was 39 and I thought, how could I be a new associate? How do I look like a new associate? And then I thought, well, if you think I could be a new associate, maybe I could be. And that was a pure superficial, silly thing that sparked in me. But it also, I'm there dividing all of my things. And I'm now going to take care of 2 children beyond my own.
So were you trying to kind of figure out what's next
What
at
is
that point?
next?
Because you did need to provide for the kids. And
I did.
Yeah.
And my goal was I didn't want my kids worrying about mom. Because they were a huge part of my career. When I would teach art classes, I needed their help a lot. It was like the Alley family art class. And I was like, this is not fair to them. I need to stand on even without them. I do feel like me and my kids almost grew up together. So I thought, let me show them how to stand on my own 2 feet and let them not be worried about mom. I wanted them to go wherever they wanted to for college. I wanted them not to feel like they had to stay close, worry about mom. I'm like, no, you're going to spread your wings and fly because I'm going to.
I love
So
that.
that's really, and through that whole process, while I'm sitting there in mediation, I remember calling home. I was like, Mom. And she said, how's mediation going? I said, forget mediation. I'm going to be an attorney. And she immediately said, yes, you are. And I said, yes, I am. Like, I knew it then, just with that one, and that was it. I took the LSAT, I applied, I got in, and 4 years later, I was an attorney.
Wow.
So it was hard. It was night classes, and my kids were going through middle school and high school, and we all studied together and cried together, and I started watching Survivor as my only escape.
Your
and
guilty pleasure TV.
It was a random ironing a shirt in the midst of study break, turned the TV on, and Survivor was on, and I just was like, what is this? I'm like, I can do that.
Yeah.
So.
And you and I have talked about this before, but I'm the kind of person, like, I watch Survivor and I'm like, these people are crazy. Like, who on earth would choose to go and do that? Like, choose to put themselves through that. So I cannot identify with it at all. But here you are watching that and saying, let me at it.
Yes.
I can totally do that. I love the way that you discovered kind of this competitive, passionate, like, side of you. And you were like, not how can I sit back here at 40 years old or whatever you were when you actually went on the show, which was later in the 40s.
Yes.
But you were just like, bring on the challenge.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's, law school was very challenging and older brain, trying to learn new things. Single parenting was challenging. Goodness. Passing the bar was one of the hardest things, and I passed it first time, but studying for it was so challenging. And then I just kept thinking, what next? And being an attorney is hard. And I guess that's why they call it the practice of law. We're constantly practicing and learning and doing it. And I think I just realized I am goal-oriented, but it's not just the challenge. It's also just the conquering and the what's next and the this is me and like, let's get better. And Survivor was part of that. It was also this fun, when life got really hard for me and I'm doing a hard, estate plan or I'm in a hard work life, I was like, it's okay because I'm going to be in Fiji. Like, I would imagine that that's where I was going, which is hilarious because being in Fiji was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. So the fact that that was my fantasy escape while I was in the middle of hard work is comical now. But it was one of these extra drives. And I mean, because I think at the end of the day, work can bring meaning and value, but we also have to have dreams. So it was almost, I feel bad for kids now that feel like they have to have that perfect job. And that's what they're seeking. And I'm like, that does not exist. There's jobs that can meet our needs and we bring value and we get meaning from, but there's also goodness in just going to work. So I had that work, but then there's also dreams. Yeah. So that's what I was kind of like, kids, just find both.
Well, and you're a great example of that. You majored in Spanish.
I did.
In college. And then you pursued art because it was just like a love and a passion. So you did that for a while.
Yes.
Then you wanted a challenge. So you go back to law school.
Yes.
Now, I mean, you love school. You're even doing more
getting
classes
another
to
degree.
get another degree now.
I am.
Like
Yes.
the way that you continue to challenge yourself is so inspiring.
I don't know if it's inspiring or crazy or I guess I'm about to turn 50. My birthday is in like a few weeks. And I am thinking that my life is just kind of started. Like, look back and I'm so grateful for my first 50 years. But I guess it's just not that doomsday end of life. It's just the beginning. I constantly want to keep my brain sharp and I constantly want a new challenge and I want to keep going. So I'm excited. I guess I also want to inspire those that are like, I don't know what I want to do with my life. I don't know, and am I stuck? And I'm like, keep doing what you're in and what you're doing and also pursue your dreams.
Yeah.
Like, it's like you got to keep. And too many times we want to quit one to start the other. And I say, keep doing the one you've got. And in addition to, I mean, there's so many hours in the day. And if you remove the mindless phone and, TV other than Survivor, it's amazing what you can get done.
So I want to talk about some of the fun parts of this. You said that from the time you started watching around 2015, you're watching the show, there was always something in you that said, and you would even say to your kids, I'm going to be on there one day. What was that in you?
I don't know. It was almost the same thing when I was like, I'm going to be an attorney. I was like, no, this is it. It was like this few times in my life I've had crystal clarity that I was like, I'm going to do that. So it was something that I would constantly talk about. Okay, when I say constantly, like 2015 is a long time from 2023 of when I was on Survivor.
Right.
So that's a long time. But it would be a couple of years and, we'd go to things and I'd talk about Survivor and I'd be like, okay, I'm going to be on that show. And it was just almost a joke. And so, but by the, once my kids were out of the house, they were both in college. They wouldn't miss me for 5 weeks. They would, they're in their own
Why
world.
not, right?
So that's when I applied. And I told my daughter, and I was so scared about hitting the apply button. Like, you make your 3-minute video.
Yeah.
And she was like, Mom, thousands of people apply. Just submit it and forget about it.
And that's another interesting part of your story. You were one, and there was no special whatever. There was no, some of these reality shows, they'll reach out to someone, ask them to audition, and they're going to put them on the show.
No.
But yours was organic. I'm going to do this.
Yes.
How did you make your video to send in? Did your daughter help you with that?
She did. Like, I did a lot of scenes, different things, and it was me talking into the camera, and I'd be like, I just finished my workout. This is what I look like. And I was like, you can't have all these young 20-somethings win Survivor. That's not real.
Did you kind of play the age card? Like, look, I can do this. I'm in my late 40s. What are the elements of Julie that you showed to them as to why they should cast you?
Yes, I really said, my life is Survivor.
Oh, that's good.
That's all that I've done. Yeah. I have been handed one lemon after another and turned it into lemon cupcakes, because I do make my cupcakes.
You do make some cupcakes. I've had them. They're good.
That's what I was like. I just said, I live Survivor. It is, I live and breathe it. It is every day. I just feel like the elements of being out there, making your alliances, overcoming challenges, that's my life. So that's what I tried to get across.
Yeah.
And also use it in my audition video. I was like, and this is me. And I did play up, I'm from the South. I'm like, you might think we just are nice, but we might, we'll bring you a casserole. But then we'll also find out what's going on behind doors. So I was kind of, I played up a Southern card, but.
You were definitely like girl next door. She's too sweet to form alliances, all of that.
I did. So they saw something. It still took me from the time I first put in my application to when I think I stepped foot in Fiji was 3 years.
Wow.
I wasn't the kind of tape that they got and I think they called the next day. I didn't have that story. This was I persevered and I persevered and I kept applying and I kept applying and I kept letting them know I was here and I kept letting them know I was serious, and it was something which is, anybody that's listening that's serious about it, I guess that's what I was like, you don't just try. You just try until you get it.
Yeah, you persevered until they picked.
I was like, I'm not done until I get a no.
Yeah.
They can ghost me all they want. I will not be quiet. So I wasn't. I just kept pushing because I was like, I'm going to do this. My daughter was like, Mom, we live in Brentwood, Tennessee. We are just your average people. People like us don't make it on CBS. And I said, why not me? She went, why not you? I said, yeah, why not me? She went, why not you? And then we would chant and it was all hilarious. And so it was kind of like my little thing when if I'd get a little bit farther in the application process and I'd get a little bit hopeful that, they might. And then I wouldn't hear something for forever because it's a long process. I'm like, I'm not giving up.
Yeah.
Why not me? So,
I love that.
Yeah, it was a lot.
So the winner of season 45, for those of you who have not watched the episode, you can go back at season 45, the most recent episode that was out. Julie was on. The winner lasted 26 days. Julie made it 24.
I think it was 24.
Top 5.
Yes.
Almost finished there at the end. You quickly became Mama J. For that, I'm sure, nurturing part of you. That was just the one that wanted to put sunscreen on all the high school seniors.
Yes.
That element came out on you. And then the more challenged, passionate Julie was also there. So it made this perfect combination of a contestant for the show.
You.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And so many close friendships. And you're really a relationships person.
Yes.
You've stayed close with your high school, your BA friends, college friends, and now you have this whole new Survivor family.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm sure that's one of the best gifts of doing it.
We're all getting together for a fun little reunion next week for the premiere of season 46.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. So a whole new Survivor cast is coming on.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we'll get together and support them. So
what is the grossest thing you had to do on your time on Survivor?
I mean, just to be fair, we were damp, cold the whole 24 days.
The entire time. What was the average temperatures during the day?
So during the day it could get really, really hot.
Okay.
Like extremely hot. If you watch us in the auction, we're sitting in the heat and I thought I was going to just burn to a crisp. So it would get very hot. But there were times when it was freezing. Some nights it was super hot and we still covered our arms. I still would cover every bit so that we wouldn't get eaten up by the bugs. The smoke from the fire would help keep mosquitoes away. So especially in the beginning when I had more energy and I wasn't completely depleted, Sifu was on my tribe, and we just manned the fire all night, and that kept the bugs away. I got a little tired towards the end, and I also got a little bit of heat from looking like I could build fire, which I could, and that was making a bigger target on me, so I had to stop with the fire. It's a complicated game. It was a lot out there.
And you went in with so much strategy.
It's so much. Like, as great as it is to watch, and you can get a hint of the strategy that's going on out there, and you can kind of see, but there's so much more that they can't show. There's not enough time. So I loved our 90-minute seasons. You got to see a little bit more, which was great.
Yeah.
But just, it's all about the relation. For me, it was all about relationships. That's what I brought. That's what I have in my life, and that's what I brought to the game.
Yeah. So you'd be covered in mud. I know you ate a worm. That one was a hard one to watch.
I did eat a worm. I don't even know if they showed it, but it was because they showed Kendra eating it. But luckily, I mean, I would have eaten more worms if we could have found them. I was so hungry.
How bad was the hunger?
Like, what's funny is once you hit like a little bit of starvation, it's not that bad because you just aren't hungry. Like your body just goes, okay, I'm not going to eat. And then when we win the rice supply reward, we're eating a little bit of rice each day, and that just keeps your hunger. I mean, it's better for your body, right? So we had to ration it.
Yeah.
But I found myself going, "Hey guys, you want to make rice? Hey, y'all want to make rice?" I mean, we're all like, "Yeah, let's make rice." But you had to save it, and you're like, "Yeah, but what if I'm not making it to the end? I'd rather eat the rice now because maybe future Julie won't even be here." You know, you just start saying things. But that got really. It's really all we kind of talked about in our free time. Food and my cupcakes and what I was going to make and what our favorite food was. And then we'd all promise that we were going to quit talking about food, and then we'd keep talking about food. So it's legit out there. It's legit. It's really hard. And it's hard to relate to here.
Yeah.
Because even if I went a day with, you always know that there's food. Like when I came home, I always made sure I had like a granola bar or food or something around me at all times. Like I had this fear.
You still had this fear that what if it's
So
not
I'm like,
there?
I had like a food drawer at work. Like I always had to make sure, which is silliness. I'm like, of course I know I'm going to get a next meal. Like
Yeah,
this
but even
is
just
crazy.
5 weeks of that process, that did that to you.
Really,
Yeah.
just 5 weeks.
Yeah.
It really did a number on the psyche. Yeah.
Would you do it again?
That is a great question. I loved it. Every bit of it. Loved the challenge. Loved the people. I loved, though, my season. Mm-hmm. I just loved my people. I think if I were to do it again, I'd have to play completely different. Because people know how I play now. They know what I would do. So it would be, which would be an amazing challenge. It'd be like, how would I play next? How would I mix it up? So I just think the chances of me getting to go back are kind of hard because my season's so amazing. And I'm like, there's other people would probably want to see. I don't know. I don't know how that works with the second chance going back on. But I think it would be an extra hard challenge, especially because I know what I'd be getting into.
Right.
Like, I'd know. So, it would be really hard.
So localizing it a little bit, tell me what the reaction was like from friends, family, classmates, from BA, from people who either found out you were going to do the show or once you got back and wanted to hear about your experience on the show.
So few people could know that I was actually going.
Oh, okay.
Was not allowed to tell. It was only family, close family, and they all had to sign a non-disclosure agreement.
Okay.
So it was very, just because, we can't, that's up to CBS to
and
let
a big
that
deal
out.
to reveal the cast and all of that.
So,
yeah.
and I'm a rule follower. So that was, but my family that knew was like, of course you are. What are you doing? And that was super fun. And trying to make arrangements to be gone for 5 weeks was a lot. But my family all pitched in. They were amazing. And coming home, there were, like, my daughter was my person on sit down and I got to process and tell you everything. Mm-hmm. And then I've got 2 younger brothers and an older sister. I got one brother that was like, don't tell me a thing. I'm watching it like the rest of the world.
He wanted to wait and watch it.
So I had, a mix. So it was mostly, hey, just don't tell us. We don't want to know. We're just going to watch it with everyone. But my group, my friends, actually I had, I think 2 watch parties with the class of 92.
Did you really?
Yes.
Oh, that's so fun.
That was a fun way to reconnect.
Yeah.
And we were kind of like, let's do this. So I did that. And it's just, everybody was so supportive.
Yeah.
It was so supportive. And it was so much fun because I knew I made it to finale.
Yeah,
so I
you
knew I
should have
made
been proud.
every episode. So I was kind of like, yeah, let's go, because I knew I wasn't going home. And then it was hard. Finale night was hard because I was like, oh man, I forgot. I don't win. Not that I forgot, but I was just so proud of my game that I'm like, oh my gosh, some people are really going to think that I win because I'm going in top 5. So I hated the feeling that I might have disappointed people, but
oh no,
I still feel like everybody was very supportive.
Yeah, it's so fun to cheer on someone local who's, doing big things and fun things and personally things that I would never do. So it's really fun to watch
that. I felt
someone
such
else
support. I really did. It was really
awesome.
fun. I really wanted to represent our community, I wanted to represent us well, and I'm hoping I did, but
that's so much
good.
fun. Yeah, we had the email chains going around at BA of going, Julie Alley from 1992 is on Survivor. It starts tonight. It was really fun, even at
So
BA,
fun.
to get to support you. Will you just leave us with a little bit of advice for high school seniors? I feel like you've been through a lot of different things. I love your story just of, there's so much pressure, particularly for a high school senior,
so much pressure.
to know exactly what they want to do in life and to know what they want to major in, what they want to start. But your story is so cool in that you got this degree, you enjoyed that degree, maybe it isn't necessarily what you used it for.
Right.
You ended up using it for, but then you also followed a passion here. You went to school later. You feel like you're just getting started, like all the things.
I do think there's so much pressure on the seniors. It's a little disappointing because there's always that question of what are you going to do next?
Yeah.
And that's all they get. So as a senior, it's like, oh, where are you going to go? And then they get to college, what are you going to major in? Oh, where are you going to work next? And it's just the next. So I guess there's no way to stop that. those questions are going to come. But just to stay grounded in, you know what? I'm going to do the next thing. I guess just in, you don't have to know. It helps. It helps a lot. And I would say just pick a path and do it for a while. And because surprising things happen. To be a Spanish major, I didn't go into college knowing that. I just ended up being a Spanish major. And that opened a lot of doors and was super fun. And then I just kept doing the next thing. So I guess mostly I can't take away the stress from them. I wish I could. I guess to know that you don't have to have everything decided by the time you graduate or after. It's not like, oh my gosh, as my kids say, Mom, I don't want to be 40 and still not want to know what I want to do with my life. I'm like, yeah, way to take my inspirational story and make fun of me. But there's the flip side of that is, you know what? You can be 40 and start over.
Yeah.
So especially, and then they'll get to that point of like a junior year in college. And that's when they'll know. But that will extend it a couple years. That will change everything. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, so do it.
Yeah.
Change everything.
It's
Extend
not
it.
knowing what you want to do. It's what else do you want to do?
What else? Exactly.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm excited for what this next generation is going to do. They've got a lot. It's a lot on them. And
sure.
the pressure is real. But I just think that just keep moving forward.
So fun. Such great advice. Listen, will you come back and light the starting torch for Survivor for us?
I love it. And I just got my real torch mailed to me.
Oh, you can bring it.
I will bring it. It's got my little JA initials because I remember when I was out on Fiji and I saw it and I was like, I'm on Survivor and this torch was made for me. That was a surreal moment. So I love that they get torches. I'm jealous.
So fun.
That's so fun.
It's great to have you here. We're so proud of you and it was really fun to follow your journey. And I have a feeling we're not finished following your journey because who knows what's next with Julie Alley. So
love it. Thank you so much for having me.
You're
welcome.
welcome.
It's been a pleasure.